What do you look at before you promote an assistant? The Bible explains why I believe that to some extent, a senior pastor in charge of the life and ministry should be determined by the phases and seasons of the assistant pastor's ministry. The level of trust should be based on the phases. There is an assistant that it was said he never caused me pain, not even once, but a new phase has opened. So your trust for the assistant pastor should be according to the phases of their lives. Why? Because people change. Demas was a companion and co-laborer with Paul, but later he chose worldly pursuit over spiritual work and abandoned the ministry. An assistant pastor may remain faithful until he faces a temptation to either pursue worldly things or stay and continue the ministry's work. The way you are flowing with funds, if he gets Canada visa, will he stay? Number 2, Aaron was faithful to Moses for many years. The Bible records many instances of Moses using Aaron's rod to perform miracles. But Aaron succumbed to the people's demands to create a golden calf during Moses' absence on Mount Sinai. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until people in the church begin to whisper delusions into his ears, especially in the absence of the senior pastor. Number 3, Ken Asa initially followed God's ways, leading reforms and victories, but later he relied on foreign alliance instead of God and grew oppressive. This dependence on human strength stemmed partly from his prosperity. As his wealth increased, he formed relationship with influential kings. His riches allowed him to afford the finest physicians during his ailments, but he neglected to pray or seek the face of God. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until he attains wealth and begins working in the company of great and influential people. Number 4, Peter, although a devoted believer, denied Jesus 3 times out of fear during his arrest. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until you find yourself in a difficult problem and he may abandon or deny you. Absalom was gravely offended because his father David failed to address the violation of his sister Tamar. Absalom took matters into his own hands by killing his brother Amnon. Later, his resentment against David grew into something unimaginable and led to an unprecedented act of rebellion in the Bible. In my view, no act of rebellion in the Bible rivals that of Absalom. Who else openly defied legitimate authority by publicly sleeping with 10 women, not just random women, but his father's own wives? Who did that? Nobody is like Absalom. What will make someone do such a despicable thing to his own biological father? Absalom undoubtedly went too far. But what drove him to such extreme actions? At the heart of Absalom's actions was offense. His bitterness over perceived injustice and unfair treatment. He was offended, leading to a complete breakdown of loyalty and ultimately to his destructive rebellion. Offenses can transform even the most faithful and loyal assistant into adversaries. And Absalom serves as a cautionary tale for individuals, especially assistant pastors, to guard their hearts against bitterness. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until he is offended. A servant of the wicked tenants were entrusted with caring for a vineyard while their master was away. But instead of faithfully tending it, they rebelled. They attacked the servant sent by the master and even killed his son. Though this is a parable, it demonstrates unfaithfulness to a leader in his absence. An assistant may remain faithful until his senior pastor's short or even long absence. Solomon became known for his wisdom and devotion to God. Later, he turned to idol worship after his heart led him astray by many wives. An assistant pastor may remain faithful until he marries or becomes exposed to many women. Gehazi was faithful but succumbed to greed and was struck with a curse of leprosy. An assistant may remain faithful and loyal until he sees an opportunity to enrich himself. King Saul began his reign with humility but later disobeyed God. He grew prideful and became consumed by jealousy, especially towards David. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until praises from others drive jealousy and resentment into him. Samson was a Nazarite set apart by God to deliver Israel. He began with great strength and purpose but was led astray by his desires, ultimately compromising his mission. An assistant may remain faithful until certain desires enter his heart. Judas Iscariot had the honor of working with Jesus but later betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. Before his betrayal, the Bible said, after the piece of bread, Satan entered him. An assistant pastor may remain faithful and loyal until Satan enters him. King Uzziah was a righteous king who sought God and prospered. Uzziah became prideful and lawful, and unlawfully entered the temple to burn incense, leading to his downfall and leprosy. An assistant may remain faithful and loyal until pride enters his heart. Cain grew envious of his brother Abel and committed the first murder, turning away from righteousness. An assistant pastor may remain faithful until he observes a fellow leader or brother excelling beyond him, which may lead to severe feelings of envy. King Joash followed the godly counsel of Jehoiada, the priest, but he abandoned God's ways after Jehoiada's death, leading to idolatry and eventually an assistant pastor may remain faithful until the death of the senior pastor. So as you trust, you should do that with caution. Only God knows what holds tomorrow.